Welcome to Greenland. They found themselves in some hot water. And not just climatically, but geopolitically. The Arctic is more valuable than ever, and as the ice retreats, something else is being uncovered. Wealth, power, and opportunity. The world is watching, and the juggernauts of global politics are already knocking on Greenland's door. Sitting idle will test their patience. Any decision that favors one state may enrage another. Greenland's future is more than just a local debate. Its choice, or lack of one, could reshape not just the Arctic, but the world at large. But in the race for influence, one crucial question has been overlooked. What does Greenland think? It's quiet here. Greenland is the world's largest island, but its population is just 56,000, no more than a first-ring suburb of Cleveland. Nothing here is connected. The best mode of transportation is often plane or even dog sled. In large economies, fishing is an afterthought. In Greenland, it's everything. The largest industry in a barren land with few options. The loud geopolitics that surround the Earth don't make their way up here. Typically. In the 20th century, the US made its mark upon the land, establishing a number of air bases and spyware to gather intelligence on the Soviet Union. All but one of these bases have been abandoned, leaving them as relics of the past. This has left Greenland to conduct business as usual, where they rely on their fisheries, Denmark's subsidies, and their traditional way of life. That is until now. Major state actors see an opportunity. Greenland, which is larger than the country of Saudi Arabia, sits upon a plethora of minerals. Cobalt, used for aircraft engines and other military applications. Lithium, a major component in battery manufacturing. Gallium, which is primarily used in the booming semiconductor industry. And copper, which serves as wiring and connectors for these electronics. The minerals that will shape future technology are more than likely found in Greenland. In fact, 43 out of 50 minerals that America has deemed of critical need are found in Greenland. These minerals, despite how valuable they are not being mined. Accessibility is at the heart of this, but maybe not for long. As the ice melts, new trade routes are opening up. The three most notable: the Northwest Passage, which runs along North America, the Northern Sea Route, or NSR, which runs along Northern Europe and Russia, and the Transpolar Sea Route. The Northwest Passage and NSR, although limited, are being used. As climate change progresses and ice melts, these will become more efficient. But the most efficient will be the Transpolar Sea Route, which runs all along Greenland. While not currently open, ice melt will make this the most dominant route in the near future. All three routes dramatically reduce trips between Asia, North America, and Europe. Ships will be able to avoid choke points, such as the Suez and Panama Canals. The Arctic is vital for state actors looking to grow their influence, and with 4 major players, they each have their own objectives. For Europe, keeping Greenland close means keeping a foothold in the Arctic. Its access to resources, a strategic buffer against rising powers, and a say in the future of a rapidly changing region. Russia and China have competing but similar ambitions. Both want to see the Arctic as commoditized as possible. But that means different things depending on who you ask. China doesn't have a formal anchor in the region, but they have never shied away from constructing infrastructure in needy regions. Their strategy involves all Arctic powers. Investing here isn't just about development, it's about influence, leverage, and securing favorable trade deals. As the world's largest trading power, China stands to gain significantly from faster Arctic routes. While China wants to go international, Russia has cut itself off from the rest of the world. Their priorities lie in strengthening themselves, with little regard for the world beyond their borders. Russia's northern coast dominates the Arctic, and the NSR could become a powerful engine for economic growth. Their Arctic development has been the most aggressive. They're maintaining a military presence, building up old Soviet bases, and hold an unwavering stance, with officials declaring they would, quote, not give up a single inch. A direct move on Greenland from Russia in particular is unlikely but not impossible. They have a passion for expanding their territory, and they're close neighbors. It would be a dramatic escalation, so Greenland will have to tread carefully and learn how to exist alongside them. And then comes America, spearheaded by a particularly powerful man in a red hat, who just may be willing to make that escalation. The US could have had this without quarrel. As NATO's leader, they had the soft power to expand their presence with ease. It would have been US territory in all but name only. Instead, ego got in the way. There are multiple US military bases from the Cold War era just sitting here, abandoned. They could have spent an exorbitant amount of money modernizing these places and still spend less than a Greenland purchase. All they had to do was ask. And so, they find themselves short on Arctic real estate. Alaska only makes up a small portion of this region. But Greenland, over 80% of its landmass finds itself within the Arctic Circle, and of the entire Arctic Circle, almost 10% is Greenland. The critical minerals, possible trade routes. From America's perspective, this is the next step in retaining its superpower status. Greenland, depending on the way you look at it, is at the center of the world. It's the core of this region. This is an untapped reservoir of global power. For Greenlanders, there is no other way to look at it. This is their center of the world. This is home. It is not to be a free-for-all battleground, despite what the titans of the world may think. As of the making of this video, Greenland serves as a territory of Denmark, but locals don't see themselves as Danes. They want to be independent. For Greenland to gain independence, it would have to rely on its own resources. Over half of their government budget comes from subsidies provided by Denmark. And without that support, their quality of life would take a significant hit. Mining and melting ice for trade routes would help to boost Greenland's economy. At their full capability, there's no doubt they would be enough to propel Greenland to economic and political sovereignty. They would be allowed to negotiate with different powers themselves. It would no longer be beholden to Denmark's interests. This sounds attractive for locals, but in reality, these are just prospects. The minerals will be mined, and the ice will go away. This is to be sure. But when and how is a question that remains to be answered, and to even bring it up will result in an awkward conversation. Over 80% of Greenland's population is indigenous. To even get the approval to open a mine is a monumental feat. Greenlanders know more than anyone the effects climate change will have. Year over year, their environment changes. Transportation has changed. Different species of fish are a part of the year's catch. The permafrost, which their infrastructure is built upon, is thawing. To contribute to mining is to contribute to these dramatic changes. It's pretty hard to get excited at the idea of profitable minerals and trade routes coming your way when the foundation under your house is being vaporized. Should a mine even open, visions of profit are as likely as the sun in December. Building the necessary infrastructure wouldn't be easy. Anything constructed here would be an engineering marvel and come at an enormous cost. Moreover, who would even work here? Greenland has a 0.2% unemployment rate. If the people truly yearn for the mines, well, that would leave gaps in existing workplaces. The territory would need to import skilled workers. The country's population would increase by 0.5% for just one singular mine, let alone a multitude of them. This would be a dramatic demographic change, one that could change the identity of a people who has lived here for centuries. One sector that is already making waves is tourism. Cruise ships dot the ports, and the entire sector has added $270 million to Greenland's economy. Greenlanders don't have to wait to see these gains. They can just look outside. Tourism also keeps Greenland's values intact. Sure, it's an emitter, but the scale is not the same compared to mines with big industrial power extracting straight from the earth. But should Greenland not take advantage of these minerals? Someone may. The superpowers that contribute the most to the warming planet are going to be affected the least. They will be able to invest, using the profits that came from the Earth's exploitation to protect themselves from their own doom. These great powers, whose capital territories are thousands of miles from Greenland, don't need to experience the rapid changes that are occurring. And from their perspective, the melting of the ice isn't doomsday, it's the dawn of a new era. When it comes to preparation, Russia has the upper hand, and it's not particularly close. They have modernized their bases. Their equipment is built for this landscape. Russia has by far the largest fleet of icebreakers. If ice isn't melting fast enough, they'll take matters into their own hands. The United States now finds itself falling behind in the Arctic race. Past land purchases, once purchased for extraordinary amounts of money, have proven to be bargains. Securing the world's largest island is a deal worth more than any price tag. These geopolitical forces see climate change in the Arctic as a net positive, so if they will pay no mind to these exploitations, should Greenland? Getting started with these mines and breaking the ice to accommodate the possible trade routes would give Greenland as much leverage as possible. Is Greenland okay with this exploitation? That should be their decision. And as of the making of this video, it still is. Denmark has stated that they will accommodate Greenland should they choose to vote for independence, an encouraging sign. Greenland could seek independence and make a deal with Europe, or they may feel themselves wanting a change of scenery. But make no mistake, Denmark, and by extension Europe, needs Greenland. Losing Greenland would be a blow to their Arctic foothold, and they know it. The stakes are high. Greenland's future holds the potential to shift the balance of power in the Arctic, and in turn, shape the world's economic and geopolitical future. But geopolitics is rarely concerned with the people who live at the center of it. This isn't the first time a land's fate has been debated in distant halls, and it certainly won't be the last. Yet, in the end, it's the people of Greenland who must live with the consequences, whether they choose their future or it's chosen for them.